Good afternoon and good evening. It's pretty exciting as people from around the globe are joining us. It's an amazing experience, this. Let me begin with one of my own experiences around my personal self-awareness. So imagine this. I'm sure many of you have had someone come to you and say these words, "Can we talk?" Many years ago, I had one of my sales managers come into my office, and she stood nervously at the doorway and took a deep breath and said those words, "Can we talk?" I motioned her to the chair and invited her to sit. She began hesitantly to tell me what it was like working with me. Nothing she said was complimentary. It was hard to hear. And I've no idea what had me shut my mouth and listen. One of the things she said, that even though I knew how to sell our products, they were still learning. And my obvious irritation with them spilled over into how I spoke to them. I thought I was masking that. Obviously not. It was arguably one of the most important conversations I ever had. Do you recall the fable of the emperor has no clothes? I was the empress with no clothes. My lack of awareness of my impact was having devastating effects on the business. My great moves were undone by my equally poor moves. I'm grateful to Rose Glesher. That conversation began one of the most important journeys of my life, about me and my impact. I realised that my lack of curiosity about my impact really had devastating effects. The question I now asked myself, how come I didn't see that? So what are the things you don't see? No self-awareness or low self-awareness, you have only half the information. And why would you care anyway? Most of you here, or all of you here today, are results producers. There is a link, though, between what you know about you and your impact and the results that you produce. Do you want bigger, greater results? Then start taking a good hard look at yourself. This morning, we're going to delve into this pretty touchy subject. People don't like talking about this because they seem to want to believe that that's not the truth, and it is. Now, if I can make you this promise, that if you're willing to go here, then leading will come with some grace and ease, and you'll enjoy it more. The toughest job to do is to lead. So, as you know, for those of you who've been with us before, we like to send you off into breakout rooms. You started there, we're going to send you back again. And in each breakout room, we'll ask different things. For this first one, if you haven't introduced yourself to your group yet, give them your name, your location, and the company that you're representing here today. And our first question is, what is self-awareness? Have a chat about that. Talk about, what do you think it is? Off you go. Welcome back. Self-awareness. What is this thing? Simply said, it's our capacity to observe ourselves, to take notice and pay attention to our behaviours, our patterns of behaviours, our emotions, and how we feel about what's going on around us. It's a skill we actually all already have. Somehow along the way, we lose our capacity to stay connected to ourselves and how we feel. we're actually made wrong about it. And later on this morning, I'm going to have you do a small exercise about looking at that. I'm going to give you a number of exercises to raise your self-awareness. It's not some magical thing that you're born with. It's something you grow and develop. It's not some psychological jargon. It's simply, do you know what's going on with you and what's its impact? I love this quote from Socrates. At his trial, he said this: "The unexamined life is not worth living." He believed in philosophy and the love of wisdom. And I've read a lot of his works. It had me take a good hard look at me. So self-awareness allows you to know what your impact is. A lack of self-awareness becomes part of the lessons that we learn as we learn to be great leaders. And if we can notice, then it makes all the difference. So why is this self-awareness thing essential for leadership? Yeah? And in the integrity and values profile, we actually measure this. And this is our definition of self-awareness from the research that we did in the development of the profile. It's your understanding of your own values, motives, feelings, and cognitions, your internal conflicts, and your capacity to make meaning from it. Pretty cool, eh? Wouldn't it be great if we could make meaning from half the rubbish that goes on inside our heads? Wouldn't that be cool? You know, the conversation you have with yourself about yourself when you're by yourself? It's really a great one. You don't go, it's so terrific. You have a list of everything that doesn't work. So I'm going to send you to another breakout room now. And I just want you to look and then explore this question. Why is this thing called self-awareness essential for you as a leader? Why is it essential? Off you go. Have a chat. Welcome back. So why is this thing called self-awareness essential for your leadership? Remember my story and the way Rose let me know in no uncertain terms why what I was doing didn't work? We have a flip chart that goes up in one of the first workshops that we run in our Leadership in Action. And I called it the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, there's good in all of us. I don't think there's any axe murderers here or crazy people. Or maybe you might feel a bit crazy sometimes. Either way, all of you here are pretty good. The thing that we don't want to acknowledge when we lead is what's bad and ugly about ourselves. And recently, Alison, one of my colleagues who can wave, and I were running a workshop with a group. And they cannot be with what's bad and ugly about them. What impact do you think that has? So we can't say and give you the feedback that's required. And then you can't hear it. It's really you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, everyone, put your hand up like this. Everyone, come on, I want to see your hands. Okay, pat yourself on the back here. There you go. You're good. Enough of that now. Let's talk about bad and ugly. Okay? Because if you can talk about that, you get some freedom. If you can own it, it's not like you have to wander around telling everyone about your deep, dark secrets about the horrible things and things that you even think about some people. Yeah, that's okay. It's the fact that you're not willing to own it, wear it like an old overcoat. Look at the bad and the ugly. That heightens your self-awareness, and it allows you some humanity in the conversations that you have with others. As I said, we measure self-awareness. When we are self-aware, this makes you the master of your future. So, would you like to be the master of your future? To be the master, you heighten your level of self-awareness. You notice everything that comes out of your mouth. And it starts to penetrate your entire world. Notice how you feel, what you think. And we're going to look at that impact and give you some tools that will make a difference. Let's start with this one. What are the 3 words that bring authenticity to your leadership? The self-aware person gets this one. So go off into your breakout rooms and have a guess at what do you think the 3 words are that bring authenticity, that level of self-awareness to your leadership. Off you go. Welcome back. So what are those 3 magical words that come out of your mouth? And when you use them, what do they do? So how many of you came up with the 3 words are I don't know? If you could learn those 3 words, how you lead will be totally different. Consider that often when you become a leader, you are the smartest tool in the toolbox. You're the smartest, the sharpest pen. I think it's the pencil in the pencil box or whatever it is that's saying. Here's the problem. When you know everything, no one can contribute to you. So learning those 3 words will be the hardest words. It teaches us humility. And it means that our teams can say things to us that allow us to grow. And when we do that, they grow too. I think there isn't a leader here that doesn't want to grow their people. To do that, develop the words, I don't know. And here's one of the powerful things about it. When you say, I don't know, the next words that come out of your mouth is, what do you think? Because that forces them to think. If you think of all the mentors or the leaders that you've had, the great ones were the ones that made you think. So learn the 3 words. Put them on a post-it and stick it in the middle of your screen, because that's where we spend most of our time, staring at our screens. Or at the top right-hand corner, I don't know. And when someone asks you a question, that's your response. Well, I don't know. What do you think? That allows you to stop being comfortable in your own skin. Stop thinking that you know everything. There's a wonderful quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's the astrophysicist. And he said, it's okay not to know. If you know, but if you don't know, and that's the thing, is a lot of times as leaders, we actually make up stuff, pretending that we know. That is dangerous, he says. Those are the signs of the end of an informed democracy. And if we look around the world, when people talk rubbish and it comes out of their mouths and no one challenges it, that's the end of an informed democracy. And as leaders, we are leading democracies, people who can each make a contribution to the business. To do that, raise your self-awareness, have humility. You don't know everything. So stop being comfortable in your own skin. Get with, I don't know, and it's all right. Cool. How many of you knew those 3 words? I don't know. You did it? Okay, cool. So it's a great practice to know that you don't know. Now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 4 practices to improve your self-awareness. I'm going to send you off and, you'll go off and do a couple of little exercises. Some of them I'm just going to talk to. The first practice is our self-awareness interviews. I hate these, by the way. I don't like it. You want to take a picture of this, and for all of you that are here, we will send you the handout on how to do this. For all of our clients here, you will remember the awareness interviews. Now, to do this exercise, we want you to go and ask at least 5 or 6 people on your immediate team these questions. Now, go and ask your significant other, and if you haven't got one, your best friend, or someone that'll tell you the truth. And these are the 5 questions. What do you consider to be my strengths? Oh, I love that one. Yeah, tell me how great I am. Now make it safe for them, and we'll give you the instructions for that. What do you consider to be my weaknesses? Now, while you're doing this exercise, here's the thing. You're not allowed to say anything besides thank you. Right? You're going to zip it. Right? And what's the one thing that you can rely on me for? Like, really, you can rely on me for this. And what's the one thing you can't rely on me for? One of the things that I've been working on forever is being timely. And it's hard. So I can be really bad about this one. I'm rarely, if ever, can I remember being late for a client, but by golly, am I late for my people. And they let me know now. So, and then the last question is, what's one piece of advice that you would give me right now? Cool questions, hey? Do this a couple of times a year and see how you're going. Practice number 2. Practice self-reflection. Our self-awareness score in our profile actually is measuring your capacity to reflect. And we ask our clients to send us a self-reflection email or message once a week. If you're on board with us, you're going to send it to us. Now, some people give me their task list. I did this, I did that, I did the other thing. I didn't ask you what you did. I asked you to relate to me how you felt about it, how you reflect on it. And sometimes when I write back to people, I just go, are you kidding me? This is a stream of consciousness here of nonsense. And I go, blah, blah, blah. Tell me who you are. So it's a really powerful exercise. Self-reflection grows your wisdom and your awareness. Now, when you reflect, you'll notice that you carry a little bit of regret about some things. Practice letting go. There's a wonderful quote by Brené Brown from her book, The Power of Vulnerability. Authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. I just love this woman. I've read all her books. If you haven't read her books as a leader, go and read them all. They are certainly, they just have you let go of all the things you don't know and the mistakes that you've made. So, practice 1, remember, do the awareness interviews. Practice 2, do self-reflection. Practice 3, I'm going to send you to a breakout room for this one. Discovering how our false beliefs or about our emotions just absolutely hijack us as leaders. So, you're just going to go and have this as a conversation with your group. What are society's core beliefs about emotions? What are the things that society has about emotions? Off you go. Okay, did you have fun with that one? What are some of the weird things that we say because we actually have an emotion, right? And we're not allowed to have them. And there's lots of stuff that people are told about when they feel something. So are some of these beliefs what you've said? Well, if I lose control of my emotions in front of others, they'll think less of me. So they won't think I'm so cool anymore. And I should be able to control my emotions. Like, really, get your act together, Jennifer. And here's my favourite, because one of my underlying things is I'm stupid. And so you want to realise what some of my behaviours look like, because I want to prove to you that I'm not, right? So I shouldn't show how I feel, because then they'd know I'm stupid. Well, how do you think that one goes as a leader? If I let myself feel this feeling, I'll just get overwhelmed. So I'll just shove it down like a pressure cooker, and we wonder why some people explode. And how about this one? I love this one. A happy person wouldn't feel like this. I'm supposed to be happy. So let's just put icing on a mud pie. Yeah? And go and polish it, hoping that things would be different. And the person, you know, if I responded to this differently, then I'd be good. I'd be great. And letting myself feel bad would mean falling to pieces. I'll just fall to pieces. Like, really, we're a bit crazy over here with our emotions. I should not let myself give in to these feelings. If I show signs of weakness, then they'll reject me. How many of you can really relate to this? Because this is the conversation you're having in your head while you're talking to people. You're not even present. Self-awareness is noticing it, and as Brené Brown said, let it go. So here's a piece of homework for you, all right? Here's some of the ones that might be there. There must be something wrong with me. Of course, there is. There's something wrong with the whole of humanity, I think. Maybe. Perhaps not. I'll just join the wrong ones. You want to notice what you think and say. If I say what I feel, they'll use it against me. I'm weak if I show my emotions. What do you think these thoughts drive? They drive a level of anxiety. What are the consequences of that? So what I'd like you to do is I want you to choose 3 emotions that you're not allowed to have, things that you think, core beliefs that you have about feelings. Think about what level of anxiety and then what are the consequences, and write it down. Take 3 a week. Just look at it. And if you like, we can send you a list of hundreds of things just in case you don't know what you're feeling. Right? Often I ask people, how do you feel about that? And they tell me what they did and how that happened, not how they actually feel. Once we get connected with our feelings, not that we're going to spew them out everywhere, we get power to notice and be aware of our impact. Okay, how many of you got something out of those short little exercises? And I've lost my piece of paper. Jay told me I shouldn't have so many pieces of paper because then I'd lose my way. So the 4 practices for self-awareness. Do the awareness interviews. Take some time to reflect. Discover your false beliefs. And the last one, meditation. Now, let me tell you about meditation. I've got a monkey mind. How many of you got a monkey mind? You know that when you go to meditate, you think about everything else. Well, that's me. My monkey mind's off and racing, right? Off for the bananas, wherever it's going, right? And I have attempted to practice meditation for decades. The thing that saved me is in the last 1.5 years, I subscribed to Sam Harris's Waking Up. If you haven't used his product, it's fantastic, and I subscribe to it, I pay for it, it's fantastic. I have done his 50 days of meditation one day after another, and it's made a difference. So I meditate for only 5 to 10 minutes once a day. I think I'm fabulous because I do that. Right? Now, Great practice. Jay's a meditator, my son, who I'm in business partnership with. And last year, I'll just share this very short experience. Anita and I are about to run a program with a client. In fact, Richard's team. And on the evening before I arrive, I get there early, I've got the manuals, I've got everything. I open the suitcase, I got the wrong manuals. And I look at Anita, she looks at me, and we both go into total meltdown. What are we going to do? And I'm like, like all the other lessons that we've done with you, I want to blame her, like she should have known and she should check. No, really? She's in my bag now? Anyway, I go to my go-to person, my buddy, Jay. And I send Anita off to go and print something at the hotel so I can just get myself together, right? And I ring Jay and I go, and he said, look, can you take a deep breath? And I take a deep breath and he said, okay, I'm going to hang up. And all I want you to do is lock the door and sit there and meditate for just 5 minutes. Clear your mind. And I'm like, the monkey mind has taken over here. So I go, okay. So I closed the thing and he said, put on one of Sam's, and I put my headset in and I just sat there. And then I could think. It's really powerful. And I've learned now, I can actually meditate for 30 seconds in the middle of a workshop when I feel a meltdown coming, when everybody's coming at me and doesn't agree with anything that we say and they don't like hearing what we say. I've learned to calm the monkey mind. Now, most of the time it seems to run the show, but most other times I actually can take back control. Meditation has been one of the most powerful things I've learned to calm the monkey mind. So, 4 practices. Go and take them up. They make a huge difference. Now, self-awareness is related to emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? And that phrase was coined by Daniel Goleman in his book on emotional intelligence. And he says it's the ability to manage ourselves and relationships effectively. When we have self-awareness, when we know and we can reflect, then we manage ourselves. And once we manage ourselves, we can manage others. And I have this as a saying, self-awareness is what you have to trust your judgment, even when you've made mistakes in the past. So I don't think there's a person in this room, well, you're all in that room over there, this one here, mine, who hasn't made a mistake. Self-awareness is being able to trust that judgment in moments when you feel like you can't. Now, here's something. If you can't trust your judgment, you get into really big trouble, okay? Because, have you ever heard this saying, the benefit of the doubt? You ever heard that one? Well, this is my interpretation of it. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Well, here's how it goes. I have all the doubt and they get all the benefit. Like, really? I think something's really cockeyed around here. No. Trust your judgment and forget that saying. If you have an inkling, then your self-awareness is at work. That something here is not working, you better ask yourself what it is. To get authentic as a leader, you manage 3 capabilities: your self-awareness, your self-management, and your social awareness. We measure those things in the integrity and values profile, and we dance between these capabilities. Who am I? Am I aware of what's going on? How am I managing myself, and how am I managing these relationships? And when you've done that, you'll notice the lessons that you've learned, and you'll grow from them, and you'll stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. So what's this value? What is the value of self-awareness? As I said before, I'm clear that you're all results producers. The more aware you are, the more you make the calls on the things that you know will work. Here's something you want to know, that when it's not working, you want to notice that you're the one who's always there. I love it when people say, and they complain about everything else, and I go, excuse me, but who was there? You know, if you've got serial relationships, who was the one who was always in the relationship? It was a different person, but it was always you. When you're leading people, you are always there. The role of the leader is to produce results through others. What's the role of the leader? To produce results through others. And the way you do it is to raise your self-awareness. You can't produce those results if you're not aware of your impact. And then here's the most wonderful thing that happens. You'll learn this one last thing, that it's not about you. When you're highly cognizant of your own impact, it becomes not about you, and it becomes all about the people that you're leading. It becomes about them, and then magic happens. Thank you for being here this morning.